Hello and welcome to Cecil.tv, Cecil Weekly. It's August 14th and I'm your host, Rob Churnside. Folks, we're into our 10th month here of quality, uplifting, and local entertainment, news, facts, you name it. We're trying to bring it to you. Tonight's show is no exception. Next week, you should note that we're all going eclipse hunting and look for a special Cecil.tv report from Nebraska, maybe points elsewhere. Tonight, Allison Donnelly will be talking with Bob Bashore from No Labels, which is a political organization whose time may just be ripe and ready to be coming right here in Cecil County. In Rising Sun, Maggie Kreskoff has a trashy women art exhibit at the library, which will be running from the 14th to the 26th. And tonight we'll also be having right here at Cecil.tv for the first time, in Cecil.tv for the first time ever, That Performance Place, a new kind of a School of Rockish kind of an effort that's going to be in Elkton and here for the good of the county. So stay tuned.
No matter your political affiliation, you probably agree that American politics have become increasingly divisive and unpredictable. The constant discord in Washington is a distraction from the real problems of most Americans and prevents our elected officials from developing effective bipartisan solutions to policy problems. In 2010, a group of Democrats, Republicans, and independents formed a movement called No Labels to combat this trend. Here to talk to us about it is Bob Bashore, a member of No Labels and an Elkton resident. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Allison. Much appreciated.
So tell us about your background and your connection to Cecil County.
Well, I'm not a lifelong resident. I've had jobs around the country in sales. I ended up in Philadelphia and found my true love, which was horticulture, and did interior and exterior landscaping in the greater Philadelphia area with my own company. I have sold the company and am now recently retired and loving it. And I'm remarried with my wonderful wife, Joanne, here in just north of Elkton.
With a horse farm.
With a horse farm, Happy Acres. And she's the horse lady. I'm kind of like the horse hand, you know. But I've learned a lot, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I love Cecil County. It's been over a couple years, and this is my home.
Very cool.
And what happened, how I really got involved with No Labels was relatively recently. I've always had an interest in politics. I've been kind of in the middle in politics. I've leaned a little right sometimes, a little left. You'd call me a moderate, I would hope. And I'm 62 years old, and I had this last election cycle completely turned me off. I was shocked, in all honesty. I think a lot of what, it's an old, overly used term, but I think a silent majority of Americans felt the same. After the discourse and the name calling and the lack of civility on both sides, I just came out of that election just distressed and down about politics. And I started thinking, how can I make a positive out of the way I'm feeling here?
So the 4 goals of the No Labels National Strategic Agenda are to create 25 million jobs over the next 10 years, to secure Social Security and Medicare for the next 75 years, to balance the federal budget by 2030, and to make America energy secure by 2024. Do you think that why do you think that those goals are salient to the majority of Americans?
Well, if I could hold this up, if you don't mind. Yeah. The group came up with an incredible, it's very, very well thought out. This is a No Labels policy playbook, excuse me. And if you look into this, and you can actually download this online at www.nolabels.org, and you can find out anything about this organization through there and get the extreme detail on this. Those are very general goals. And I believe that they have a strategic group in Washington, D.C., which I must say are fantastic people. I went to D.C. in March, about 1,000 people, every state represented, got to listen to Joe Lieberman talk, John Huntsman, the co-founders, various congressmen, and so forth. And they have folks who are strategic experts, and they poll continually, looking for areas that the majority of Americans, whether they're Democrat, Republican, or Independent, are for, the changes they want. These would be 4 general areas that most people could agree on. Yeah, I want to see 25 million jobs. I'd like to see Social Security, Medicare secure for the next 75 years. These are areas, as simple as they sound, our elected officials cannot tackle. They've been kind of useless.
Very difficult issues.
Very difficult, and most of it's because of partisanship and not talking across the aisle.
Do you know whether our district's representatives have signed on to the No Labels playbook?
I'll tell you that if I could mention one thing to get into that, the most exciting thing that's happening in this movement, there was a group in Congress that was inspired by No Labels. It's not a No Labels group, but they are huge supporters of us. Mm-hmm. It's called the Problem Solvers Caucus.
Right, yes, I read about them.
On the extreme right, you have the Tea Party or the Freedom Caucus. On the extreme left, you have other kind of partisan groups, Resist and so forth. These are the extremes. These guys, at this point, it's 43 representatives in the House of Representatives who have signed on to what we want to do. Mm. Now, our particular representative, Andy Harris, has not. He is actually the most conservative member of the Maryland representatives.
Yes.
He is a Freedom Caucus gentleman. To his credit, guess what? He has met with us, and he's listened. He invited us to even monitor his town hall meeting that was on the national news, got quite energetic and protests and everything. But I mean, I appreciate anybody listening and talking. Mm-hmm. And he did point out areas where he tries to be bipartisan. It's usually the things you don't see in the news, though.
Right.
If you get to healthcare or something, he's going to stick with the partisan.
So how do you think you'll reach out to the fellow community in Cecil County?
Through Cecil TV, of course. But really, it's difficult to do. It's piece by piece, bit by bit. They do it on a national level. We're getting more and more press through Problem Solvers, through No Labels. You guys are nice enough to have me on to talk. It's very, very special, and it starts right here in the community.
I totally agree.
And if a few people check into it that are watching and join, I feel fantastic because it just spreads from there. So really, it's grassroots.
How can our viewers learn more? You mentioned the website, www.nolabels.org.
Exactly. That's the best way. It's an excellent website. And as I said, you can download material like this. There is a great way to stay in touch with them and be inspired by them would be on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And you can just look up No Labels on Facebook and join.
And they're also on Twitter and Instagram, as is Cecil.tv. So thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
And now for something completely new, different, and exciting for Cecil County. Tonight we have with us Melissa and Carol Forsythe from That Performance Place. What is it? You may have seen it on Route 213 southbound out Elkton, site of the old Brentwood Golf Course. It's here and it's getting ready to land in Cecil County in a big way. Melissa, tell me what it's all about.
Basically, the general overview of our school is that's a performance-based music, dance, and art school. So the overall goal of our program is to take students from learning how to hone their craft to putting them on stage and performing and doing that regularly. That way they really get the experience of what it's like to be an actual musician or actor or dancer and really just be comfortable with their art and their craft.
And you have an actual stage, I guess, or performance space on the old Brentwood site.
We do. We really lucked out when we were originally went into that building. The first thing we saw pretty much was a sound booth and a beautiful stage, and we went, well, this could work.
Nice, nice. Carol, you have sessions for training students, correct?
Correct, yes. They sign up for 8-week sessions for music. We're offering Classic rock is our first show, as well as classic country, that they can sign up if they already know how to play their instrument. If they don't, then they're welcome to start taking lessons, and as soon as we possibly can, we get them enrolled in a show so that way they experience the performance. And they do 2 shows. When they do that, a Friday night is a Saturday night as well.
That sounds great. I know parents in Cecil County are going to love to get their kids involved in this program. Now, Melissa, you're having a grand opening sometime in September, correct?
Yes, September 10th from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We're having a bunch of bands playing. We're having Horizens, one of the bands the band that's about to play here. They're playing with us, and we have a bunch of other bands, but we also have a band called Start Making Sense, which is a Talking Heads tribute that used to be former students or teachers from one of the School of Rocks we used to be associated with.
Right, and that was the School of Rock up in Delaware, correct?
Yes, from the Start Making Sense are students and teachers that my husband had throughout his School of Rock career, and then the kids from Horizon, a couple of them have been directly from our school in Wilmington.
Right, so you have some instructors. How many instructors do you have at this point?
We're starting out with about a half a dozen. As anybody who's been in this area for any length of time have known that Brantwood had been closed for quite a while.
Right.
So it was quite an expense and an endeavor to get it up and running. So we're doing it in 2 phases. We started with the upstairs, and that's what's ready to go. And then as soon as we grow in the community, then we will be able to do the second phase and do the downstairs, which would then move all of the music lesson rooms and rehearsal rooms downstairs, and all of theater and dance will stay upstairs. And that will be our venue for their shows as well.
Right, and it's not just going to be theater, music, and dance. You have expansion plans as well, correct?
A lot of them.
We do. Since we have a decent chunk of property, we would eventually like to do some agriculture programs and kind of get kids back to the roots of learning how to plant things or learning how to sew and all those kinds of things that often are kind of lost and don't really have time for. So we'd really like to basically use our school as more of a resource center for just all different kinds of learning. But we are starting with the music, theater, and dance.
And just so we don't forget, Melissa has her degree in agriculture as well. So, and I was a floral designer by trade. So it gives us an opportunity to follow through with some of those things that we enjoy as well and bring that to the kids. But like she said, it is more like an educational resource center, so we can open it up to local organizations as well. We had a great meeting today with the Arts Council, Cecil County Arts Council, the Historic Association. So there's things that we can do with that facility that also works with the community as well. So there's a lot of big plans.
A lot of good stuff's coming to Cecil County. We're very excited. Now, September 10th is your grand opening. But if parents and potential students want to get involved prior to that, how do they contact you?
They're welcome to stop by Monday to Thursday. We're open from 5 to 8 at night just for tours, and same Saturday 11 to 4. We're also open for tours. And we do have a website. It's just thatperformanceplace.com, so it's very simple. And we have a Facebook and an Instagram and a Twitter, so they can keep up with what we're doing. But parents and students are welcome to come in, do a tour, and sign up and start taking lessons.
Nice, nice. What's your student capacity? You anticipate a capacity of any sort, or it's kind of open-ended?
Open-ended at the moment, since, like she said, we haven't finished building out the basement yet. And once that's done, we'll be able to have a bunch more students because we'll have a little bit more space. So right now,
we're starting with, we can do 100 upstairs on our schedule as we are. And then the idea is that we would be able to accommodate 300 to 600 kids, because how we work our program is, as kids are in our program for any length of time, such as Julie and Liam, who are here, they would start working with our younger students and give them the experience of teaching and building their portfolio for high school or for college.
Right.
And so it's one of our teachers actually is from this local area. And he had been a student of ours, graduated, went off to college, has his music degree in composition. He's coming back and teaching for us. So whether we're just his first job out of college and we can assist him that way, he's assisting us and he wants to help the kids compose. So what we're aiming to do is also bring out a lot of original ideas out of the kids. And so whether it's dance, music, or theater, that it gives them an opportunity to take those ideas they have in their head and actually get it to stage.
That's wonderful. Now, I know that September 10th is your opening, and you mentioned a couple of your students. They're going to perform tonight. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll get right into it.
Oh, about Horizens?
Yes.
Julie and Liam were students of ours at this when we were at School of Rock in Wilmington,
And we're part of our house band,
Yep.
so they've got quite a bit of experience under their belt. And then they've got a really good friend, Luke, who they found for a great drummer for their band, and they've written originals. They do some covers as well. But it's exciting seeing where they've been since we've been closed, that they knew enough from what they did with us to be able to keep going through the summer while we've been gone.
Great. Can Cecil.tv come down and check things out?
We'd love to have you.
Just like everybody else, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Great.
doors open.
Well, thank you for your time. Let's check
Thank
out
you.
Horizons, shall we?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you for the invite. It's much appreciated.
Hey everyone, we're Horizens. We're a band from Wilmington, Delaware. Thanks a lot to Cecil TV for having us here. We're going to be playing 3 original songs. We're going to be starting with one called King of Hearts.
What I needed to find came at a perfect time. Now's my chance and I feel so alive. Makes me hope, but nobody knows your love comes just as fast as it goes. Can get you out of my head. Should I forget it instead? Is this real or have I been misled? Why now you've been coming around, my circumstances so profound. One more night has gone by, simmering souls.
So we're going to be playing one of our newest songs called Your Eyes, and we've only performed it one other time, so pretty new.
Lift me up, I'm feeling down, but you push me back off my feet again. And surely you did try to make it alright. Did you really? 'Cause through my eyes I saw the world as you, though I knew you can't tell what it's like. 'Cause through your eyes you see everything as it should be. So it felt, darling, I'm really quite amazed at how everything it fell right into place. And it's really for the best that we're giving it a rest. And I know that, 'cause through my eyes I see the world under me, 'cause you pull me in. 'Cause through your eyes you see everything as it should be. So it is. So here we are again. Happy endings aren't just for play, pretend. And tell me, is this what it's like to not have to put up such an awful fight?
Thanks again to Cecil TV for having us here. We really appreciate it. If you guys liked what you heard, you guys can follow us on Instagram at Horizens or on Facebook at Horizens Band, but spelled with the E. You can see photos, videos, and you can catch up with the latest news about our shows and stuff like that. So thanks again for having us.